Mr. Speaker, the Mayor of Calgary asked for and received increased borrowing powers for his city and actually for all municipalities because this government failed to make good on their $1.4 billion infrastructure funding promise. Now, I'm sure the Minister of Municipal Affairs would like to spin that as a good news story, but in fact this is yet another example of the provincial government happily downloading costs onto cities and towns and counties and municipal districts. To the Minister, will the Minister commit to covering the interest payments that municipalities will now have to pay to complete their capital projects with their extra borrowing?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I want to emphasize that we had a lot of past dialogue on the MSI funding, and we've always been very, very open with municipalities that the funding would flow through. We're still committed to the full $11.3 billion, but on the agreements with each and every municipality, it was always subject to my availability of funding that I could turn over to the municipalities. So the decisions that the City of Calgary needs to make is up to them. We've given them the flexibility to make those decisions that would meet the needs of their residents.
The Honourable Member.
Well, Mr. Speaker, since this appears to be a new working relationship between the province and the City of Calgary, I wonder, is the Minister also reconsidering his government's lack of support of the airport tunnel?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the city. Last year, the City of Calgary received $115 million. We've added another $139 million to the MSI funding for a total of $254 million. They are, over the next year or next few years, expected to receive $3.3 billion in MSI funding. Those dollars are left up to municipalities to decide their priorities, and it's up to them now to use those funding for the tunnel.
The Honourable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, Mr. Speaker, given that in 2005 the Ontario government committed $30 billion, that's $30 billion for infrastructure over 5 years, a funding program that they completed in only 4, by the way, why is keeping an $11 billion over 10 years promise so tough for this government?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the $11.3 billion is only one program that's used to support municipalities. Mr. Speaker, there's a number of us as ministers here that provide funding to municipalities, and to use only $11.3 billion is not fair. There are considerably more dollars that flow through municipalities from this province than what he alludes to.
The Honourable Member.